Well, welcome to Newcastle Borough Council's Cabinet meeting today. Welcome to councillors, Cabinet members joining me in the room, and also our officers. Introducing our Cabinet members, we've got Craig Scalding, Portfolio Holder for Leisure, Culture and Heritage. We've got Councillor Stephen Sweeney, Deputy Leader, sitting on my right. We've got Councillor David Hutchins, Sustainable Environment, and also Councillor Andy Fear, Strategic Planning. Welcome, everybody. Item 1 on our agenda is apologies. I don't have any apologies. We do, actually, from Jill Heeson, correct me. So we're all here other than Jill, who's away at the moment. Item 2 is declarations of interest. Do we have any for items on the agenda? Not seeing any. Item 3 is minutes of the previous meeting attached on page 5 to 10 from our last meeting. Can we agree those as a correct record? Thank you. That brings us to item 4. First item of business is the Wallace Quarry odour issues, and I'll hand over to our Chief Executive to give a outline of the report, and then we'll be taking comments and questions.
Thank you, Leader. This report, as per previous reports to Cabinet, sets out the current position in relation to odour issues at Wallace Quarry, coming some 9 months since the closure order was put in place. The report covers the level of complaints and monitoring. In respect of complaints, these have been steady and low across the last 4 months, with a notable drop in August, so down to 4 complaints in total in August, the highest peak being 2 in a single day. Officers continue to investigate complaints and the sources and map and track these to make sure that these are being managed and responded to where appropriate. I think that low level continues to reflect the works that have happened on site. We're obviously now moving into the autumn period, which is an area we said we would pay particular attention to. With that in mind, and although it's just in meteorological summer, readings were taken on the 29th of August, and you'll see from the report that there was 0 parts per million for H2S monitoring on site recorded by the Jerome. So in a positive place in that respect. The recovery mechanisms that were agreed will start to ramp up from this month onwards as we move into that new phase from response into recovery, and we'll continue to report that back through this Cabinet and through other engagements as we go forward. Finally, the report sets out towards the end of section 1 the correspondence that was requested per the resolution of full council in July, and the status of that correspondence. So happy to take any questions, Leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. So the picture remains positive. Obviously, complaints low. When we're talking about these numbers, we'd have dreamed of these numbers during even the best bits of the bad bits of the odour issues we've had over the past few years. So long may that continue. We're entering, as you say, Gordon, the autumn period where we'll be watching closely. The site seems to be well managed by the Environment Agency and their contractors with the work that's been carried out, even when work has been carried out and they've raised the alarm that there could be spikes, and any complaints that we've seen have been very low compared with what we were seeing previously. So a positive picture. I'm going to open up to questions and comments now from Cabinet members. First of all, Andy.
Thanks very much. And again, it's heartening to see that the data is pointing in the right direction. Of course, historically, this has been a time when we haven't had problems. So again, as I think I've stressed quite a lot of times, we can't be complacent with this. We mustn't lose the war for the want of the last battle. In that regard, I just wonder if either Gordon or yourself, Simon, could update me on 1.6.2 as regards the MP. I do recall at the last full council we did ask the MP to be proactive in this matter, and in particular to call for the government to help putting the site right at the end. After all, it was a government edict which allowed this site a very long time ago to go ahead. And it seems to me only fair that the government should play its role in restitution. And equally, we also asked at full council for the MP to call for a public inquiry into the whole sorry affair. I certainly, unless I've missed something, haven't heard the MP do either of those things in public. And I wonder if, A, you could put me right on that, or indeed whether we've had any response to the correspondence which was sent after the full council meeting.
Thank you, Andy. No response from our MP at the moment on those 2 points which you've raised, particularly on that public inquiry request, which of course we've had. Full council made a number of decisions, unanimous, cross-party, about holding a public inquiry into how we got to this stage and how it was handled, to learn lessons for the future, not only for this site but for others. So disappointing we haven't heard anything back. We did receive a response from the Secretary of State, Steve Reed, which is attached. And that really, we were asking him to make sure that the long-term restoration of this site is funded by the government and doesn't fall to local taxpayers. As you can see in the letter of response there, stands for itself there. So no M from our MP at the moment, which is disappointing. And bring in Steve next.
Yeah, thank you. Gordon, the letter we received from the Environment Agency was it was a good letter, interesting letter. But the 3 words that really alarmed me, which is sort of following off what Lee has just said, long-term plan for the site, including funding arrangements. Is there any update on that at all?
Yes, thank you, Councillor Sweeney. I think the 2 things I would note on this. One is that as part of the recovery arrangements, clearly it's an area that we've highlighted. It needs to be focused, and we've asked for government representation on the operational group to look at that, about what the practical steps are for restoration and obviously the associated funding with that. I think we've previously made clear from a council perspective that this should not fall onto local shoulders for payment of any sums. We're obviously continuing to work with partner agencies on working to resolve the issue for the long term. But I think that position has been stated several times in terms of the position of the council in this. So we haven't yet received any response on exactly what a funding package will look like post the bond, which obviously the EA have been utilising for these first works, which have brought the immediate problems into some sort of abeyance. But obviously there's a medium-term and a long-term position that has to be looked at in the future.
And of course, the EA are using the bond, as you refer to, Gordon, which was the money that they have set originally, and also that they have kept. Nothing to do with any of the councils involved on that, contrary to some discussions at last full council and by the MP himself. Perhaps he should do a bit more research and base research into the issue that he's inherited now he's moved to Newcastle. Okay, right, that's the Wally's Quarry report. Any other issues we wish to raise? I think we're asked to note the report. At the moment, things are going well. We are in a period where historically complaints have been low. As we enter the autumn, though, I think we're more optimistic than we've entered any year during this crisis over the last 5 years. We wait to see. But that long-term restoration, capping and restoration site is really important, and we're talking the multi-million-pound question there, aren't we, that cannot be fall upon the local taxpayers. And I believe, and I'm sure a lot of colleagues do as well, is that the Environment Agency dropped the ball massively on this site. That is a government agency, and it should be for the government to fund the restoration of that site and ensure that this problem for our residents ends and is monitored and alleviated over the next 40 years as it's restored, capped and restored. Thank you. We'll move on to our next item, which is item 5, which is the annual report. This is the 3rd annual report we brought in this term. And again, a good picture to tell of the council's delivering on frontline services, while also keeping the finances under control and keeping council tax low. We've seen this last year, the launch really of full-scale plans for regeneration of our town, with that 80+ million plans for the 3 sites in town. First site on the Rycroft that delivers the Newcastle car park to replace the Midway. Midway will now be, in the next couple of years, hopefully converted into apartments. We'll have York Place becoming Astley Place. with shops and accommodation, and then the rest of the Rycroft site will be accommodation, houses, and also a McCarthy Stone extra care living facility as well. So we're going to see those things coming to fruition and work starting imminently on the Rycroft site. We hope, obviously, that we can deliver on what we've said we were going to do, and we've put plans in place this year through the sound finances of the council, through working with partners, and also our development partner for a lot of these schemes, which is Capital and Centric, to deliver, and we can trust on their record. Every time I go onto social media, I see their chief executive showcasing sites that they're either in the process of developing or have developed and have finished. So they are delivery partners that we can trust to deliver. And we have the finances, obviously packages behind that to make that happen for this once in a lifetime regeneration of our town. While we've been doing all that, we've been delivering those core services, whether that's in street scene, whether that's in leisure, whether that's in planning, taking our local plan forward. And I'm sure cabinet members will come in and highlight some of those in a minute. But I think one of the things we have had come to the fore in the last year is local government reorganisation, which is this government plan to merge away councils and create larger councils. And we've seen in recent days there is no financial case for that. The population figure is arbitrary, no case for that neither. We are obviously looking at this annual report in the sort of the prism of local government organisation, and I think it tells a good story of how Newcastle Borough Council delivers services for its residents. Not only does that on its own, but works with partners. We've launched a Civic Pride initiative this year, which is gathering momentum and is touching all parts of the borough. And we've got exciting plans to take that forward later in the year into new areas, working with partners in the police and others. So I think a really good picture. This will be going to full council for the annual report to be debated in September, but it's for us today to comment and also then forward it to full council. I'll open it up now to cabinet member comments. I'm going to bring in David first.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. Yeah, it's a really good report, really positive, and I'd like to thank everyone who had a hand in compiling the report. In the sustainable environment area, we've continued to use land audit surveys to monitor and measure the street cleanliness within the borough and identify grot spot areas. Graffiti, detritus and flag posting all received 100% survey scores. Litter, while performing slightly lower at 98%, still met the target. We've removed graffiti from subways to improve their appearance, and we've successfully delivered a highways grass cutting contract on behalf of Staffordshire County Council Highways and have been awarded an extended form contract. And from my portfolio, everything's looking good and everything is on the up. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you, David. Andy.
Yeah, thanks very much. No, I read this report with a great deal of pleasure, quite frankly, and it's one of the reasons I'm proud to be a member of this administration. What we see here is an administration, in my opinion, which is keeping its promises and is also going ahead to build a bright future for the borough. A lot of hard work has been done with planning over time, and as you rightly say, Simon, now these things are coming to fruition and we're seeing real change and change for the better in the borough. So I'm delighted to have read this document, and as I say, I feel very proud to have been part of this process, and I'd like to extend my thanks to everyone who's worked really hard to bring these things about to get to where we are now.
Thank you, Andy. Craig.
Thank you, Leader. Yeah, I'd like to also congratulate everyone who's had an involvement in this. A really well put together report, and it's reflecting on a year that we've done so fantastic as a borough, and especially with the oncoming hostile takeover bid, may I say, looming over our heads. It's nice to have this report to reflect upon. I'd also like to offer my congratulations to the Business Improvement District team, along with all of the council officers involved in the Britain in Bloom competition. They managed to secure a prestigious double win at a national level this time in the Heart of England in Bloom Awards. Another thing, while on the subject of awards, the Brampton Museum, they continue to perform outstandingly. They've secured a bronze award in the Small Visitor Attraction of the Year award, which is by no means a small thing, and also Bronze award in accessibility and inclusive tourism. So again, my congratulations go out to the girls and the team at the Brampton Museum. On top of which, sorry to drone on a little bit, my portfolio's got quite a lot on this, with the J2 as well. The Active Life programme. We continue to promote health and well-being of our residents, not just physical but mental health as well. And the Active Life referral programme throughout the year, it actually raised up to 590 new referrals, of which 60% of which converted to full membership. 64% participants experienced a reduction in body mass index, 70% reduction in total body fat, and 75 to 80% of customers actually believe that it's had a massive effect on their overall well-being and health, mentally and physical. So well done to everyone involved in the referral programme and the rest of it at the J2, because the team at the J2, there's pushing the swimming lessons, fully booked for 13 schools now involved in teaching children to the Borough to swim. So to summarise, I know I've droned on a little bit, we're an award-winning portfolio. We've got a great museum, a great in bloom competition entrance, a great sports centre, actively promoting health throughout the Borough. And I won't even start on the tennis course, but you'll hear from me in the future on that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Steve.
Yeah, if I can just start, just read a few lines out really on what is an excellent report. The bit that gives me, I cover is really finance in the town centre. So a few quotes. A balanced budget was again agreed by the financially well-managed council for 25-26 with feasible and sustainable savings being identified via the well-established finance efficiency board process. The savings and funding strategies have enabled continued investment of £250,000 in the council's priorities via the Civic Growth Fund. During 24-25, the council has used resources to greatly improve the situation for local residents relating to the Wallace Quarry environment crisis. The transformational One Council programme, probably the thing I'm most proud of really, has made recurrent savings of £1.173 million every year forever. And it's has anybody noticed the money's gone out of the organisation? Have services got worse? Have people answered phones slower? I mean, it's just a tremendous achievement for this council. £26 million of capital expenditure has been invested during 25-26, largely into regeneration and infrastructure projects within the borough, which leads me to talk to the town centre. Quite soon now, we'll start seeing cranes up on the town deal projects in the town, which I think is going to be an exciting time for everybody. Also point out that the Future High Street Fund, which was £11.4 million, is gone now. That's all been spent. We've got it in, we've got it out, we've worked on it, and it's out doing things for the people of Newcastle, which is the way it is. I doubt if many other councils could say they got rid of that money so quickly as we have. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, Steve. I think, as has been pointed out by Cabinet members, a really good story to tell. I think the first item on the agenda was Wallace Quarry, of course, and I think this council can be proud of the activity it's done this year to bring us to the situation we are at the moment, which is a vast improvement. Let's not forget, while we're talking about the £55 million government from the previous government investment in Town Deals Future High Street Fund, we've also, during this year, made decisions that awarded £1.5 million to funding opportunity schemes throughout the borough for the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, which is making a real difference, sometimes under the radar, but out in communities, whether that's community safety, whether that's environmental concerns, whether that's businesses and business growth, that money is being used there for the betterment of businesses, residents, and all sorts of people within our borough. We're working very closely with the police. If Jill was here today, she'd be talking about the partnership working with reduced crime and antisocial behaviour in our town centre and across the board, and that continues. Civic pride, of course, as we mentioned, is a key part of that as well. We've mentioned J2 and the leisure centre and the museum, great assets within our borough and jewels in the crown. And Steve has mentioned the town deal money and Future High Street Fund and hopefully the cranes that will be popping up in town over the next few months or so over into next year. Also, let's not forget the new bus route. Not many councils can say they've invested in a new bus route. That's the University K out to the communities and business parks. That's really helping people to get to business working opportunities and educational opportunities within the borough. That has been funded by this council via the town deal money as well. So as others cabinet members, I'd like to echo the thanks to officers and to members that have been involved, particularly to our finance team and to Sarah and her team for the work they've done over the last few years for us, and particularly over the last annual report period for us as well. And I think a good picture and something we can really be proud of to take to full council in a couple of weeks' time. So I move the recommendations that we do refer this to full council and debate it later on in September. All agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. That brings us now to our next item, which is the medium-term financial strategy 26-27 to 30-31. And Steve's going to introduce this.
Okay, thank you, Leader. Yeah, the gap this year is £1.777 million. Now, the 5-year period of the MTFS is £3,069,000. This report now is a standard report that comes out this time of year, but those are the gaps that we've got to fill. Now, the two sort of real lowlights on it, if you like, that's causing this amount of money. There's two things. There's a fair funding review by the council, now by the government. Now, because we're such a good council, well-run council, people like having businesses in Newcastle. Businesses generate business rates. They generate quite a lot of business rates for this borough council, and the government doesn't like that, so the government's going to take it off us. So we're going to lose about £1.5 million of funding by the fair funding review, of which another £500,000 sort of comes back because they're juggling around with figures which we don't really know what we're going to get yet till December. But that's the general idea. We're going to lose £1 million. However, because we have a certain degree of foresight in this council, we put a £500,000 pressure onto last year's budget to cover half of this price. And then if you look to the bottom of this report, you will find the pressures on it. And this year we're going to need another £464,000 to go in to make up the end of that £1 million that we need to do. This is real money that's got to be found from this. The other thing, of course, is the forced local government reorganisation, which you'll see a little £400,000 in there. So of this gap, £864,000 is made of those two things, two separate things which we've got to deal with, and which, of course, we will deal with. But it's this sort of these sort of pressures that councils have at the moment. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Steve. Yes, endorse this MTFS. Thank all the team for working on it. It's obviously, we're well into the process of setting next year's budget at the moment. Efficiency board and efficiency reviews, which have been carried out by this council every year under the guise of efficiency board since 2018. So it's nothing new when councils seem to try to get headlines, particularly new councils elected in May, saying that they're going to do an efficiency review. Well, a lot of councils have been doing that for many years, and this council particularly. And as Steve has pointed out, the money that's been saved over the period is out of a budget of ours, over 10 million budget savings have meant that we can continue to deliver good quality services to residents. I'll open it up now to any other comments from cabinet members on this. Not seeing any further to add. Steve, you're going to take this now to FAP's scrutiny?
Yeah, we'll go to FAP's on Thursday night. There's also a copy of a letter that I wrote to the Chancellor's checkers attached to it, and that'll go to FAP's as well, just pointing out all the sort of pressures that all councils, won't just be us, everybody could be doing this, all councils have got to face at the moment, and the pressure and the number of tasks that are being given to them with less money to pay for it.
Yes, and your letters to chancellors are becoming a regular occurrence now. I think we're probably in our third or fourth year. I think it's not setting out a begging bowl, it's actually just making those in Westminster aware, wherever political colour they were. We were writing to previous, we even wrote to the previous Prime Minister, didn't we, about this? This is about letting them be aware of the issues. And we're also working with the LGA and District Councils network on particularly the accommodation issues and the cost of temporary accommodation, which again has been flagged up in your letters a couple of times to both previous and current chancellors. And again, we always copy in our MPs into this. So I think again, our MPs should also be taking up this baton for us and beginning to get some results out of their government now, just as we expected the previous MPs to do the same. So recommendations before us is that we obviously note and agree the MTFS, noting those pressures of 1.777 million. Agree the approach regarding the development of savings and income generation proposals in the medium term. Note the continued uncertainty regarding the impact on local government funding, as we discussed. And note the letter sent by Steve to the Chancellor, in respect of temporary accommodation and other issues. And then also refer this medium-term financial strategy to the Finance, Assets and Performance Scrutiny Committee for their views at their meeting, which I believe is Thursday. Yes, all agreed? Thank you. That then brings us to our next item. Really pleased to bring another report on the Kidsgrove Town deal. We've had a couple over the spring and summer, but this one takes us forward on a few schemes, approve the alternative schemes for the shared service hub project to get that underway, and also to note the progress on Kidsgrove station works and the refurbishment of the station, which again was work on the station was under obviously threat really, but we've managed to use town deal funding to do a full refurb of the station. Some of the visuals that have been put out with the cabinet report and on social media are really impressive and show that we can have a really good gateway entrance into Kidsgrove with the money from the town deal. Okay, the government is not providing the bigger funding which would have been needed for the remediation work possibly on the land around the station, so we're not allowed to rebuild on that land. But given that, I think what we're going to achieve for Kidsgrove Station is going to be really good, and look forward to more reports coming back to this council and this cabinet in the future to set that scheme up and running. But I think Kidsgrove Town Deal has delivered already Kidsgrove Sports Centre, and that's a brilliant success story for Kidsgrove. Closed by the previous administration when they had the option to purchase it for £1. What we did is we negotiated with the county council back in the last decade now to ensure that we got hold of the site and also had some money which would have been used to demolish the site, which the county were looking to do at that stage, and we pumped that into the refurbishment, worked with the community group, and they are still running that and making a success through volunteers and an excellent staff that are running it at the moment. So a real success story, shows what you can do with government funding, used locally, using the community involvement to get that up and running. We had all the other benefits of the town deal, the pump track and the improvements to Clough Hall Park. Now we're moving to that town centre station area regeneration. In the plans, there are plans there for the enterprise centre, the public realm improvements, and also this station works that will lead to a refurbished station. So really pleased to recommend Cabinet that we note the progress on the schemes, approve the alternative schemes for the shared service hub project, approves that myself and Steve in consultation with our Deputy Chief Executive progress the legal agreements to enable delivery of the projects, and then note the progress on the delivery of the Kidsgrove Station works, and also note those visuals of what the new station refurb will look like, and we'll bring further reports back as and when. Opening it up now to comments. Craig.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. This is massive news for Kidsgrove. The money that they've had available over this funding, that they've made good use of. Like Simon, you said, the pump track, the sports centre, the CCTV, and now the train station. The train station is going to be a great addition to the town, and on top of which we'll see the progression of proposals for the one-way system under this funding away through Market Street that will lead to development of the public toilets as well, so it will expand onto the town itself, and it's good to see the benefits from funding being well used by a well-run administration. Thank you.
Great. Steve.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. The Labour government, for some strange reason, neglected Kidsgrove. They never invested in Kidsgrove. It was sort of just left, and I think it's taken the Conservative government, not the government now, the previous one, to actually invest in Kidsgrove, and these things have made a real difference for people in Kidsgrove, like the pump track, like the pool, like Clough Hall Park, like all the rest of the things. It just goes to show that Kidsgrove is an integral part of this borough, and the money that we're spending is well spent and well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. So I've outlined the recommendations. All agreed? Thank you. That brings us now to item 8, Newcastle-under-Lyme Local Plan 2020 to 2040 update, and Andy's going to introduce us.
Thanks very much. Yes, the local plan, always there in the background, but now we're moving into a new stage. We've had our examination. What this report does is list a set of things that will take us forward to the next stage. I can assure colleagues that our officers are working very hard on this list, and indeed some of these things have already been done. So this report is already a little bit outstripped by some of the things that have been done. I'd like to again thank our officers for working hard here. There's a lot of engagement with external bodies. That's going well at the moment, not just external bodies in the private sector, but also with the county council. And I think it's fair to say that everything is moving smoothly and it's moving forward. There's also a little bit, I suppose, of jargon busting in this report. Some of the phraseology used in this process is a little bit odd. So I do commend colleagues to have a look at this, and you know, in that way, the report will explain exactly what's going on.
Okay, thank you, Andy. I think obviously commitment to get a viable, workable, in-place local plan was one of the things we got elected on in 2022. And we're almost there. We're on the final stretch now, isn't it? And if everything falls into place, hopefully we'll have a local plan in place not too soon to protect, obviously, the green spaces in this borough and to manage development, whether that employment development or residential developments. And of course, because we moved ahead when we did do, in the teeth of opposition from the Labour group here, we got out to the last consultation just in time to avoid Angela Rayner's extra homes, which amounts to 2,000 homes across this borough. I saw an article in the Sentinel by the MP trying to dig at the local plan process here. I would remind him and remind the Labour group and remind the public that under the joint local plan, which was being promoted by the previous Labour administration, we were on the hook for over 13,000 homes a year. I believe it's about 7,000 or 8,000, isn't it, under this plan? So a plus there, certainly. And then, of course, within minutes, quite literally, of taking over the role on July the 4th last year, they announced their change in planning and the national planning policy, which meant that we believe about 2,000 more homes are needed on and above what is in the local plan, and that we will need to accommodate those in a new local plan over the next few years. So I think that's the record is quite clear. We've gone for sustainable lower growth, whereas the Labour Party have tried to stifle that, stop that. And also, if they'd had their way and led to the delays earlier on in the year, we would have been on the hook for the 2,000 more houses which Angela Rayner wants to build on our green spaces. So I think steady as she goes. Still a lot of work to do. I echo your thanks for the officers and the work on this. And obviously, you're going to take this through to the scrutiny committee as well for an update, as we regularly do, for member input. But there are a series of recommendations in there, noting the progress, noting the updates, authorising yourself and the officers to move to the next steps of the local plan to bring it back to full council when complete, and also ensuring that we do the relevant consultation post the finalisation of the local plan with the inspector on those points under item 4. And then 5, make sure that we have all the responses in for the main modifications directly to the inspector to allow the preparation of the final report to full council for the adoption of Newcastle-under-Lyme's Borough local plan. All agreed? Thank you. That brings us then to item 9, which is the renewal of the Civica financial contracts. There is a confidential item later, which is the financial details, but Steve's going to introduce the public report now.
Thank you, Leader. Yeah, Civica, for people who don't know, basically run our general ledger for the council. And they've been doing it for a number of years now. And this is just a renewal. What we've done, we've come in fairly early because with forced local government regularisation, we don't know what's going to happen. Are we going to get taken over by Stoke in 2 years? Whatever. We really don't know. So it's 2 years plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. The contract is, so we can break away from it whenever we need to. But by getting in early, we're actually saving £52,565 for a service that we absolutely need. We could have gone out to a wider tender, I think, and start the whole process from scratch, but no one knows where the future is. So it seems fairly pointless wasting money on it. And I fully support the fact we're just going with the people we use and extending it for years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Steve. So the recommendation is we approve the contract with Civica UK Limited for the provision of the council's financial management system on the basis of 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, given the uncertainty in the future. But as pointed out by Steve, there is a total cost saving there as well, which is a good use of resources again by this council. And thank you to the team and Steve for working on that. All agreed? Thank you. That brings us now to the Finance Performance Review Report for the first quarter of 25-26 into this financial year. And the first part of it is the financial summary, and Steve's going to introduce that, and there is a recommendation there.
I think the most important part for this, which it always is for me, is where we are in light of our sort of revenue budget, and we're actually £34,000 underspent at the moment as at the end of period quarter one, which I think is good news and shows that we're in control of what we're doing. There's various places where we are overspent. There's various places where we're underspent, including a very nice one of 319,000 more than budget for our planning position, which is mainly Chatterley Valley. So that's a bonus for us. So yeah, we're on course, and I've got no major issues with anything. There also talks about some rules of funds. So there's £100,000 to planning appeals reserve to provide for any appeals that may be adverse to the council's finances, £150,000 to the local plan support fund to provide for costs associated with the final proceeding of the local plan and its future plans, which you've just been hearing about, and finally £150,000 to the budget and borrowing support fund to increase the council's finance resilience. Happy to move all those. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. We'll come back and verify that decision later, but we're going to look at the performance data now. And as usual, we're going to go through section by section. Pleasing that this time, obviously, our percentage is now up to 78 on target under these new, more stringent indicators, which we brought in, which is the first quarter that they've been in place now. With the amendments we've made following the last quarter. Firstly, looking at the first tranche, I'll just get it on the screen isn't the best thing. There we go. It's too big. Right. No, it's too small, but never mind. Paper was really good. We are making savings. Right, yeah, so on the first page there, we've got some indicators relating to the obviously my portfolio. I think generally a good picture that sickness is continuing to stay the right side and out of the red. But we do have the, which has been a constant one the last few quarters, is the website interactions. And obviously we've seen that actually as a positive because people are actually dealing with their queries quickly without having to go to various parts of the website. And that's because of the revamped way we deal with digital inquiries, which I think is a really vast improvement for people that access the council. Moving on to the next page, we have the council tax and business rates section. Steve, if you can find that on your PDF.
Yeah, all that. My fault. Yeah, they're all good news. I think we had a little bit of blip for the last report with the amount of council tax collected. We were marginally over, marginally under where we should be. But a bit of digging around, we found out really that people have been chased up after the end of the year and put that money in, and we're really on time. And I think this backs that point up now. There's no real problem on that.
Okay. Thank you. We'll move then now to the planning application and sustainable growth part, Andy, which is yours. Any comments on those? Seems to be a good picture.
No, again, I think it's a very good picture. We've got at the moment actually we've got some quite large planning applications coming in. Things are challenging, but again the planning section is rising to that challenge, and I just again like to thank everyone who's worked hard to make this picture such a good one, and I think it reflects very well on the council. This is planning applications to some degree at the front of house sort of things, so the fact that we're doing so well I think reflects very well on the council indeed. So thanks to everyone who's put in the work here.
Thank you. And then now moving to Alfie Active Safer Communities. We've got some recycling indicators there for you, David. And the first one is a red, but so slightly, but I'll allow you to give the narrative around that one.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. The target was 51% of the items collected to be recycled. We were 50.99, so we were just 0.01% down. I think last year, if you remember, the April, May, June was very, very wet. So we had the gardening waste that we collected was very, very heavy. And that obviously contributed to a good percentage in the same quarter last year. This year, if you remember, the April, May, June was very dry. So the amount collected on the gardening waste front was a lot less in weight. And that's resulted us being just 0.01% below the target. Yeah, I'm pleased to say the residual waste is still under the 103 kilograms per household. The successful collections is 99.97%, which is fantastic news. So for every 10,000 collections, we just missed 3. So that's great news. Following on, we have the surveys that we've carried out regarding the street cleanliness, the level of detritus, the environment cleaning for graffiti and fly posting. And I have to say that all streets inspected, which were chosen at random, was 100%. So good news.
And then now moving to Craig, obviously museum and J2 indicators. Over to you.
Thank you. I mean, I've spoken about both these sites in item 5 quite in depth, but there is a new monitoring system at the museum for a number of people accessing the museum in person. And on reflection of the old system that we use, it does show that the old system was quite accurate. And I think they've maximised on that site this year, maximising on the good weather that we've been fortunate to have. And they've got an increase over target now of 18,704 visitors to the Brampton, which is by no means a small achievement. J2 membership growth is just sustainable and stable, steady, nice and steady. You know, we've gone over the 4,000 mark. It's 4,094. So it's all going well at the museum as well. So that's all I've got to say, really. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Just looking at obviously Jill in her absence, obviously the community safety indicators are good to look at in some respects. Really shows the working between the police and our officers here at the Council of Community Safety, vulnerability and all sorts are working together well to deal with issues that come up. We've got a green under the percentage of non-complex disabled facility grants completed within 120 days. That's good. We brought in the new policy with the new contract as well, and that's showing that we're keeping on target on that one, which is really, really pleasing. So we'll move then to the final priority, which is the town centres for all. And the first one at the top is car park use. Steve, any comments on that?
Yeah, as it says in the report, it's actually down. And the way I think it says national comparative data is being sought to look at trends which are affecting car parking. What that basically means is we're going to have other councils of similar size if they're experiencing the same drop off. So I don't see our car parks being empty. I don't see the town being empty. A lot of permits being sold. That'll make a difference. Where I park my car, there's doing building work, and there's vans parked there all day, every day. And then I've had permits that are taking up, car parking places all day. So that'll make some difference. But getting to the bottom of it, I think is going to be interesting. Thank you.
Okay, and as you say, anybody that's been in and around town will see the work that's been going on, and that will increase. I think we're going to be in the flux when it comes to car parking numbers for the next couple of years, because there'll be contractors working on all of the development sites in the town centre, and of course permits aren't captured under this indicator. That's why we're looking to try and get a better indication, also find out what the national picture is. But by one associated next to that is the town centre footfall figures, which show an increase in that, showing steady increase upward trajectory through Q1, reflecting increased visitor activity. So people are coming into town, whether that's by car or by any other means. That is showing that with the events we're sponsoring in town, with the market we're involved in, and the events we're involved in through the bid, it shows it's bringing people into town. We had at the weekend the retro market, which is the record fair, and also some cars and some vintage clothes shops and other things that were going on in town, and that was really busy as well. So on a Sunday, so our events markets and other things that we do and sponsor are are looking really good and strong. And that brings me on to markets. Any further to the last indicator there, showing a good on-green target?
No comment from me apart from the usual. Please visit the market. Please visit the town centre. I challenge anybody to sit on the iron market on a sunny summer's day, sitting outside having a cup of tea, and not think what a splendid place this is. What a great place. And you hear these reports, and it's absolute nonsense. I think it's delightful, our town centre, and the iron market, especially on a nice day, couldn't be nicer.
Okay, thank you. And we've got obviously entering now the period of the autumn when, as we build up to Christmas, so there'll be a lot of events, markets going and activities within the town centre and the Christmas light switch on to come. I know it's too early to think about that type of thing, but it is coming very quickly. We're into September now, so I know that the bid are looking at a series of events, and also our markets have plans in the run up to Christmas, so look out for those. So that is the Q1 performance data, and just referring back to that recommendation that we approve those movements in reserves as set out by Steve. Do we all agree? Thank you. That then brings us now to the forward plan, which is the plan for our cabinet meetings going forward. The first few pages, you go through it page by page. The first few pages cover today's meeting, bringing all the items which we said we were going to bring to this September. Sorry, we now will look to October, which is going to be a busy meeting, keeping the pace up on developments within our borough and making decisions for our population to improve services and to also lead to the regeneration of our town. We've got the Shared Prosperity Fund Phase 2, Lyme Park delivery, Town Centre car park brownfields update, traffic regulation order, Newcastle bus station upgrades, and also the vehicle and fleet maintenance contract, renewal of the back office management system, Kidsgrove train station update, as we referred to earlier, Newcastle bid renewal, and then also the Fields in Trust update on Village Green status as well, and also the Wallis Quarry update will also come. And then in November, we have another Wallis Quarry update. We have local government reorganisation before it goes to full council for a decision ahead of the deadline for the governments for submission. Bradwell Dingle recreation facilities will be coming to us also in November, along with housing, homelessness strategy, Q2 financial and performance data, and Wallis Quarry update again in December, and then the first draft of the savings proposals, and then a town deal update takes us through to the end of the year. Can we agree the forward plan? Thank you. We have, before we move on to it, there are no urgent business under item 12. Before I move the disclosure of exempt information removal to the public, I can say there's no request by councillors or public to attend cabinet. So I will now move under item 13, disclosure of exempt information, that the resolve of the public be excluded from the meeting during consideration of the following reports, which are the Civica Finance Proposals Confidential Appendix, as this may lead to a disclosure of exempt information as defined by the Local Government Act, Part 1, 12A, as amended from 1972. All agreed? Agreed. Thank you.